All right. Hello again, adventurers, and welcome to another exciting daily vlog. This is number 12. And today, I have talked about this so many times on this channel that I don't know if people are just sick of listening to me rant about this. I'm going to rant about it again because it just keeps happening over and over and over and over again. And it doesn't matter how many times I doesn't matter how many times I talk about it. It doesn't matter how many people I bring this up to and they go, yeah, I guess you're probably right. People just seem to be completely incapable of understanding this very, very simple fact. Was having a conversation with people who shall remain nameless. We were talking about YouTube videos and the things like that. And topic came up about how certain videos underperform compared to other ones. And the first thing that is always jumped to is, well, this video is underperformed because of the algorithm. And everything is just kind of, well, maybe we should stop doing this kind of video because the algorithm doesn't like it. And first of all, it's not how the algorithm works. It's never been how the algorithm works. I'm very, very happy that you learned a new word and you're happy to use it to explain away all the mistakes that you made. This is not how the algorithm works. You want to know why I know that's not how the algorithm works? Because on YouTube, there are every kind of content imaginable. And there is at least one example of that content doing incredibly well. And I'm not talking about a single viral video. I'm talking about an entire channel based around that kind of content that regularly gets tons and tons of views. If it was an algorithm problem, those videos would never do well. And what we have seen time and time again is people that chase the algorithm generally end up doing poorly. But the people that decide upon a format, work and perfect that format, and just keep continuing to put it out on a regular basis and continue to improve the quality, eventually the algorithm will like that. Really good example. There once in the before times, there was a brilliant YouTuber who actually started off as a StarCraft caster by the name of Total Biscuit. His real name, I believe it was John Bain, but everyone knew him as Total Biscuit or TB for short. He was brilliant, but one of the things that he used to do is he would do these game reviews, but they were very different than how game reviews worked on the internet. Game reviews, for the most part, like video reviews, generally were things that were anywhere from about 2 to 4, maybe 5 minutes. They would show gameplay of the game itself intermixed with whatever host was reading the review, whether that host wrote the review or not. That's what you'd have. You would have the host. They would talk about things. They would go to video of the game as they highlighted different aspects of it. They'd go back to here. They'd go back to video of the game. And it was very polished and it worked really, really well. Basically, all video game reviewers did that. Total Biscuit didn't do that. He had a series that I think I'm going to actually go to his channel. Just because he was so brilliant. He unfortunately, for everyone wondering why I'm referring to him in the past tense, he unfortunately passed away due to cancer. Quite a few years ago now. And his loss was felt throughout the gaming community. He was a pillar of the gaming community. And if you're on Twitch and you use the lull emote, which is capital L, lowercase u, capital L, That is Total Biscuit's face. So he's been immortalized in that. I'm trying to find, what were they called? Was it just WTF is? Maybe that's what they. Yeah, I guess WTF is was what the series was. But basically, he would do his first impression videos and review videos effectively of games instead of having a tight, very closely edited video that would have his face on it for most of the time and then would cut to gameplay and stuff like that. That's not what he would do. He would have gameplay playing in the background and he would speak over it. And I gotta remember, because it's been so long since I've watched any of his stuff, because again, he's been gone for quite a while. I miss him every single day because he was brilliant. Yeah, I believe, at least the later stuff, I believe the later stuff he was doing the actual game that he was playing, but he would also have videos as I'm going to talk about this particular topic for blah blah. And he would just have gameplay footage with him talking over it, and the gameplay had nothing to do with that. That was not a particular popular thing when he started, and it actually went against the algorithm. The algorithm back then was short, jump cut edited videos with lots going on in it. And after he'd been doing it for years, eventually the algorithm started shifting where they didn't want short form content. They wanted long form content. They generally wanted videos that were around 20 minutes ish, and stuff like that had long watch times and stuff like that. And that's what became important. Well, at that point, TB had been doing that for years. And so it just so happened that because what he was doing was already doing pretty well, the algorithm shifted to match it. And that's what the algorithm always does. Everyone that does this, well, the algorithm doesn't like that. You're misunderstanding what the algorithm is, what it does, and if every decision that you make is based entirely on the idea of, no, we're going to do whatever the algorithm wants, you're going to fail. Your channel is not going to grow. Aside from freak growth, you have a viral video and it makes your channel explode. Stuff like that has nothing to do with the algorithm either, but it does happen, and it happens regularly enough that people think that it's normal. However, there's something like 30,000 hours of video that's uploaded to YouTube like every day or every hour or something like that. It's nonsense how much stuff goes up on YouTube. So, law of large numbers, if you have a significantly large enough sample size, even things that are nearly statistically impossible start happening on the regular because you're just using these massive, massive numbers. And that's what crazy viral growth and stuff like that is. And again, it happens a lot, but when you compare it to the entire ecosystem, it's extremely rare. We just don't know about the, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of channels that are all like sub 100 subscribers that are putting out content on the regular that nobody's watching. Kind of like this channel, though I have more than 100 subscribers. I'm less than 1,000 now. So yeah, it frustrates me so much when people see a video do poorly or a stream do poorly. It's like, oh, it's the algorithm. I guess I can't do that. Better cancel. And they don't take any other factors into account. They don't look like, for YouTube channels specifically, because I'm going to focus on YouTube because that's where this discussion started. For YouTube channels, if you see a particular video or a particular kind of video is just not doing as well as other videos on your channel, immediately going, well, then that video type doesn't work, is stupid. I don't like using that word in general because it doesn't really... It doesn't really give you an ability to change anything. It's just a derogatory term. However, I'm done playing with this thing. again, I've seen this happen so many times that I'm sick of watching it. And it doesn't matter how many times I tell people this, they don't fucking care. They like to blame things that they can't control so that they don't have to put the work in to control, to fix the things they can control. If you are looking at a particular video or a particular video style that's not doing good on your channel and your instant thought is, well, then people just don't like that, you're wrong and you're stupid. There's really no other way to say that. If it's not doing as well as your other videos, you need to start looking into why. Is it a marketing problem? Is it the fact that the target market for the videos that you already produce that are good is not the same as the target market for this particular video, which would require you to try targeting a different market, either through new avenues of marketing, whether that's, going on social media, whether that's finding sponsors to hook with it, there's a lot of different ways that you can market something differently. Collaborations, lots of different things. So that might be one of the things. It's just that this is not a great fit for your current audience, and you haven't done the due diligence necessary to figure that out. Is it a quality problem? Is the stuff that you're comparing it to things with really, really good audio, really good video editing, and is scripted? Is it just that people are not used to listening to things like ums and ahs? That could very definitely be it. Is it just the fact that the audio quality is wrong? One of the things that a buddy of mine, his name is DK, he streams on Twitch on a channel called DK Lurations. He's awesome. He's also extremely knowledgeable about sound in general. And one of the things that he's kind of beaten into my head is the idea that viewers will forgive a lot of things. They will not forgive bad audio. One of the reasons that this channel probably does worse than it should is I do not have an optimal audio setup. I don't have bad audio, but I could do a lot of things to make my audio significantly better. One of them, if I was to speak into my microphone more often instead of having it way up here, I could control the audio significantly better. I could get rid of background noise. If I was to throw it into any audio editor, I could remove the background noise. So the only thing that you guys hear is my voice. I could add reverb and other things like that to just make it sound more pleasant. None of these things are outside of my ability. I've done all of those things before. I actually used to be trained on running a soundboard for a couple different things. So it's not that I don't have the knowledge. I simply don't have the strength to do it and the endurance. But if you're looking at something and you have really high quality, highly edited video over here, and video that's, recorded with, $10 microphones, and people are peaking and people are popping and things like that, maybe that's why it's doing poorly. Have you controlled for that? Is the upload schedule inconsistent? Scheduling in general is one of the most important things to build an audience. You need to be consistent. I mentioned that in my tips for running a successful tabletop RPG live play. You have to be consistent. Your audience needs to be able to know that every week, every other week, once a month, this day, this time, they can go there and they can see this. If your uploads are sporadic, it's going to drop your viewer count. And it doesn't matter how good your product is, it is always going to drop your viewer count. Now, there are some channels that kind of thrive on this because the product that they create is so incredibly good that people will watch it no matter if it's uploaded at like 2 o'clock in the morning on Friday the 13th. People will just watch it. That is an anomaly in general. Really good example, what is his name? Smooth McGroove. Smooth McGroove will regularly just take a couple years off from his channel. He just won't upload anything for years. He very rarely loses subscribers, and the second he starts uploading again, everybody watches it. And everybody celebrates because the stuff the dude puts out is amazing. And he doesn't make announcements, hey, I'm taking a break from... He just stops uploading for a little bit. Everything that he does is the wrong thing to do on YouTube, and he thrives. So, again, anecdotal evidence and stuff like that is not good, is not good data. Do not look for something to support the argument that you're trying to make. Look at as much data as possible and come up with an argument based on the data that is presented from as many different sources as possible, and do everything that you can to control your confounding variables. So there, it could be just a quality issue. It could be a scheduling issue. And it could just be that, kind of going in line with the scheduling issue, it could be that when that video drops or those videos drop, they tend to drop on inopportune days or during inopportune times. Things like that, where people just aren't really in the mood for that particular kind of content. All of those things are controllable. You want to keep consistent, keep on a schedule? Okay, work on your back end, work on your prep work to see what it's going to take to get a video out every week, every month, every 2 months, however you want to do it, but improve your back end to do that. If it's a quality issue, there's a lot of different ways that you can improve quality. One of the ones that so many people just completely ignore is the idea of improving your public speaking ability. Something that I did before all this bullshit happened to me and I got this as a stutter and everything. One of the things I used to do is I would watch public speaking videos and I would read books on public speaking, and probably one of the best bits of advice I ever got, that I actually got to the point where I was really good at using it, and I've forgotten almost all of it by now, is forcefully slow down your meter. And what that means, excuse me, what that means is one of the big things that will cause people to use basically vocal fillers. So those are things like ums, ahs. We as a society and just as a species don't like dead air. We don't like silence, so we try to fill it. And when you're speaking, one of the things that's extremely common is if your brain is running just a little bit faster than your mouth, which it always is, and you don't have the quite the words that you want, or they're not in the right order yet, before you say them, so that you don't have this awkward pause, you go and then keep going. And it turns people off immensely. As soon as you start putting ums and ahs into your speech, people start finding you less credible. And they've done studies on this. It's fascinating. As soon as you just start adding in things like ums and ahs or pauses and other things like that that don't feel intentional, people will stop listening to you and they'll become disinterested. However, if you slow down the meter of your speech, because a lot of times we try to speak as fast as we think, and that's not possible. And so what happens is you start adding all this additional stuff in there so that your brain can kind of go back and catch up with your mouth, because your brain is like 7 sentences ahead and you're like shit. Okay, let's just do this here, and then you start umming and ahhing. All it takes, and I kid you not, I had this pretty much down before the benzos and everything like that. All it takes is you slow down your speech a little bit, and when you do want to go or ah, take a breath. A piece of advice that we used to give to new actors, generally on opening night, was the audience doesn't have a script. And what that was meant to imply is if you screw up, make it look like you did it on purpose. Again, our brains don't like things that feel awkward. They don't like things that don't make sense. And so our brains will automatically do these weird mental gymnastics to make everything make sense. And as a performer, you can actually take advantage of that really easily by just making it look like you did that on purpose. She's like, no, I meant to do that. And don't bring attention to it. Because as soon as you go, yeah, no, I totally meant to do that, and that was definitely my intention from the beginning, well, you would never say that if you actually, you would never say that if you actually intended to do it. So you've just really shown that you didn't intend to do it. So if you have a quote-unquote quality problem with the content that you're making, which I will 100% admit, a lot of, I would say the vast majority of the things that I put up have a quality problem. And I've talked about it before, that the quality problem is not that I don't know what I need to do to get better. It's I just physically don't have the strength to do it. But I'm not going to try and tell people use my videos as an example, because they're not a good example. That being said, if you have a quality problem, a lot of people go, well, it's a quality problem. We've got to get a better editor. We need better editing software. We need better microphones. Nope, you don't need any of that. Just have whoever is speaking take some public speaking classes, watch some videos on public speaking, read a book. Public speaking classes will cost you money. YouTube videos will not. They'll just take time. Books, if you got a library nearby, I guarantee they've got tons of public speaking books in there. There's just so many different ways that you can learn to improve your own presentation. And another really good source of knowledge about improving your own performance is watch other people that are already doing what you're doing and see what it is that they do that you enjoy. Audiences are varied. Different audiences like different things. But in general, if you enjoy what it is that you are doing, then your audience is going to enjoy it as well. Does that mean every single audience is going to love every single thing as long as you enjoy doing it? Absolutely not. Again, different audiences like different things. But if you are doing the things that you enjoy when you are a viewer, you are going to attract like-minded viewers. And that's a good way to build an audience. So, quality issues are fixable. They're 100% controllable. Some of them take money to fix. A lot of them don't. But the ones that don't take money to fix require work. And that's why so many people are so quick to just jump on this idea. Well, it's the algorithm. There's nothing I can do. Well, it's just how Twitch is. You guys don't want me to play this particular game, so I can't play the games that I want. Nope. Well, I would love to run my D&D live play, but my audience doesn't watch D&D. Nope. You have just decided that the one thing you can't control is the problem and completely absolved yourself of everything you have done wrong. Don't do that. What you need to do is look at the things that you can control, look at the things that you can't control, and focus on the things that you can control. You are never going to be able to control the algorithm. If you chase the algorithm, you will fail every single time, because as soon as you develop a product that fits the algorithm and it has the quality that is necessary for the algorithm to pick it up, and you understand the market well enough to know how to market it correctly, the algorithm will change. And then all the work that you put in will be a waste of fucking time. But if you make the decision, this is the style of content I want to create, and then focus on perfecting that style like TB did, eventually the algorithm will come for you, because people won't be finding your content through the algorithm. They'll be finding your content through word of mouth. They'll be finding your content through marketing that you have done for it. And again, the algorithm doesn't do marketing. So many people kind of rely on, well, the only way that we can survive on YouTube is if we obey the algorithm. All hail the algorithm, the most holiest of algorithms. The algorithm is all. All is the algorithm. Praise the algorithm. This is not how it works. The algorithm is effectively free marketing for you, which is great. Free marketing is extremely valuable. But there's so many other ways to market a product. And nowadays, there's so many more ways to market than have ever been available to us as a society. Again, my degree is, again, I have a Bachelor of Science in Business Marketing Management. Part of my degree, the marketing part of it, I actually had to learn the history of marketing. Fun fact, marketing has only been around since somewhere in the neighborhood of like the 30s to the 50s. That's when what we consider marketing really started. The reason being, before then, in the 20s, 10s, and then 18th century, capitalism still existed. It's not that it didn't. However, there wasn't enough products available for people to have choice. Generally, if you needed a Cracker Barrel, you would buy a Cracker Barrel. You wouldn't find your favorite brand of Cracker Barrel. You wouldn't do anything like that. There was only one person selling it that could get it to you. So before marketing, what you did to get your product sold was you just put it in front of people and they would buy it. And that's how you made money. Once we start getting, after the Roaring 20s, we had the Depression, and that meant no one was buying anything. Once we start getting out of the Depression, we have all these competing products. And now people are trying to make money off of it, but we have different people. And again, I can't remember timelines because, again, dates are real hard for me. Modern marketing might have started around like the 1920s-ish. The Roaring 20s, the reason they call it that is it was a massive economic boom. The reason we had the Great Depression was because of the Roaring 20s. You cannot have a drop that bad without getting real high first. So, and I'm not saying the Roaring 20s were a bad thing or anything. Great Depression was, but... so we go back to the Roaring 20s and then all that stuff. You actually had choice, and so you had to start finding ways to get people to want to buy your product. And still to this day, the most important aspect of marketing, 90% of your marketing budget will go to what is called product recognition. No one will buy your product if they don't know it exists. And when people are purchasing a product, they're generally not going, oh, this is the one that Shaq recommended, or, oh, this is the one that had that really interesting commercial versus that. No, they literally will generally only have a couple ideas in their head about which ones they want to pick, and they will just pick from those two or those three. So the job of most marketing is make sure that you are one of the first ones they think of when they think of that particular product. And that's how marketing works. The other 10% is, fighting with competitors, trying to create value for the product, and that's very, very useful. But again, 90% of your marketing budget is just ensuring that people know your product exists. And we live in a time where getting your product knowledge out to people is easier than it has ever been in history. Used to be, you would have to spend thousands of dollars on television ads or putting ads in the newspaper and making sure that you were advertising in the right newspaper or the right magazine, because if you advertised in the wrong one, then it was going to go in front of people who were not interested in your product in any way, shape, or form, and they wouldn't look at it at all. It was an incredibly arduous, difficult process. Nowadays, we have hashtags, we have TikTok, we have Twitter, we have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have YouTube, we have collabs, we have sponsors, we can buy ad space on Twitter, Facebook. I don't know if TikTok sells ads to just regular people. I can't remember. There are so many different ways where you can spend 10, 20, 30 bucks and get eyeballs on your product instead of spending 20, 30,000 dollars to get the same result. And then you also have to focus on, okay, well, I spent the money. That means I did it. I paid for it. And now I get the stuff. No. You also have to look at, well, what is your marketing doing? Like, what specifically is your marketing? Are you just putting a picture of your product out there with no text on it, no nothing, and expecting people to buy it? Guess what? You've just wasted your marketing budget. Congratulations. Look into best marketing practices. Look into what does well on different platforms. All of this information, by the way, is available for free on the internet. Again, 10 years ago, you had to pay a market research firm for all this money, or for all this information. And it was extremely expensive, to the point where you really couldn't afford market research unless you were a massive company. Now, you get market research for free. There's so many different ways to do it. Run a poll on YouTube. Attach it to a picture and YouTube will send it out for you. It's unbelievably simple. Go to Twitter. Use a couple hashtags. Put a poll on there. Instant information. Tag a really big creator and ask them a question. They probably won't answer you, but there's a chance some of their audience might. So many different ways to do this. Collaborations, they're so incredibly undervalued. It blows my mind how many people do not understand the power of a collaboration on YouTube. However, every big company in the world still uses collaborations. Right now, in this very second, Capcom is doing a collaboration with Raid Shadow Legends for Monster Hunter, because they're doing a huge marketing push for Monster Hunter. It's another one of the things that have been pissing me off. Thought about doing an entire video. I still might. There are all these videos talking about, well, why is Monster Hunter World so popular? Because Capcom is running a marketing campaign called Return to World. Well, no, it's because there was just this perfect storm of, there was a sale and then they announced Monster Hunter Wilds, and then all these big YouTubers started doing it. So that's what's... Nope. It's entirely because Return to World. That's what it is. You guys think it was just accidental that they just happened to announce Monster Hunter Wilds in the middle of a sale for Monster Hunter World? The people at Capcom are so clueless that they had no... Oh my god! There's a sale, there's a massive sale every year at the end of the year on Steam, and we just happened to make sure that one of our products, our most popular product we have ever sold, by the way, Monster Hunter World, most sold game that Capcom has ever sold, ever. It's incredible. We just happened to put it on sale during one of the biggest sales of the year, during one of the busiest purchasing points in the entire year. The holiday season, everybody buys everything. Oh yeah, and then we announced this brand new game which we knew would drive up engagement on it, and then we started this marketing push called Return to World, where we started live streaming various people playing our game. Wow, yeah, I have no idea why that's happening. It's so weird. No, it's because YouTubers have this strange thing, especially real big ones, have this strange thing where they think that they're these marketing gods, that if they play a game that everybody suddenly is going to go out and buy the game. And it's just not true. They did a study, oh man, I guess it's been 6 or 7 years at this point. They did a study a while back when YouTubers were claiming that they are the number one marketing tools for video games, and that video game companies should be paying them to advertise their games. They did a study and they found out that the number one factor in whether or not someone would buy a game was the marketing that was pushed by the manufacturer, the developer of the game. And it wasn't even close. It was above 50. I want to say it was somewhere in the 70s. And then I think like the second or third was a YouTuber I liked streamed or something. But again, the number one factor, not even close, was the marketing that these companies did. YouTubers do not affect sales that much. Do they get people to buy games? Absolutely. Do Twitch streamers get people to buy games? Absolutely. It's nowhere near as effective as a good marketing campaign. Never has been, and never will be. You want to know why? Because marketing is an unbelievably complicated and extremely well-studied science. I know this because I had to learn all this shit for a bogus degree. And when I say bogus degree, I believe most higher education degrees are completely worthless, and the reason I call mine a bogus degree, the marketing stuff that I learned was absolutely useful. And a lot of the project management stuff I learned was really useful too. The business aspect, completely worthless. The things that you learn in business school is nonsense, theorized and created by people that have never actually worked a day in their lives and have spent the entirety of their life in academia and think that they know what they're talking about. They don't. So, but I am very proud of my degree. So, the idea that, well, because I played this game, it made everybody go get... It wasn't. It was the most popular game that they ever produced. I think it's 21, 22 million copies sold. Yeah, you've never had an audience that large. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're PewDiePie, Asmongold, whatever. You've never had an audience that large, and the vast majority of your audience doesn't have disposable income because they're children, which is true of YouTube and Twitch and most social media. Now, their parents have disposable income, sometimes, not always. But yeah, no, YouTubers have never been the marketing powerhouses that they believe they are to be, with a few rare exceptions. Games that can't afford big marketing budgets, like Goat Simulators is the example that everybody brings up. Nobody played Goat Simulator until PewDiePie did a Let's Play of it. You are 100% right. Thank you for your anecdotal evidence that shows the exception rather than the rule. And again, this is another thing where people will just hyperfixate on a single variable and go, well, that's the whole thing. That's it right there, is it's a whole thing. And it wasn't. The reason Goat Simulator got really popular after PewDiePie played it is, first of all, PewDiePie is extremely entertaining when he plays a very particular style of game. And Goat Simulator was effectively created for PewDiePie. Now, don't take that to mean that I'm saying that the developers of Goat Simulator created it specifically for PewDiePie to play. That's not what happened. However, the kind of game where PewDiePie and his particular style of comedy and presentation does the best is a game like Goat Simulator. Physics simulators that you can do weird things and break the game, and then he can put interesting commentary over it, and he can do these wild reactions, and that's what he does. He's very, very good at it. And this is not a dock on PewDiePie at all. He's extremely skilled at what he does. Everyone just votes it, no, it was PewDiePie, it was the only thing. No, PewDiePie was a huge, huge factor, but the other factors were there was no real marketing budget for Ford. It was a very small studio, and it just happened to fit his style extremely well. Take away any of those things, PewDiePie would not have had the impact that he did. This is just how it works. Stop focusing on a single variable. That's not how business works. That's not how success works. Anyone that has ever been successful understands the idea that you cannot hyper-focus on one thing and expect to do well. You have to understand the entire market. You have to understand the entire process, and you have to understand the things you can control and the things that you can't control. Now, there is a point where you do need to cut and run. There will be certain things that you try this, and the work required to turn it into something that can be profitable or something that can see a return on investment, whether that return on investment is actual money coming in or views or whatever it is. There will be things where the return on investment just is not high enough to justify it. However, too many creators in general are too quick to jump on the idea that this this is just, it's impossible. There's nothing we can do. We're just gonna have to drop it. And the people that I have seen make that discussion or make that decision have never gone through enough data to be able to justifiably say that. It's just them being lazy or being petty. They're upset that they did something that they thought was good and it didn't perform the way they expected it to, so they blame something else. I'm not stupid, you're stupid! It's not how it works. It's never how it works. It's never how it has worked. It's never how it will work. You need to put the time and effort in to be successful. Just because there are many examples of people that don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. My brain is just dying at this point, guys. Just because there's tons of examples of people that are completely oblivious to what they did correct and they're extremely successful does not mean that you are going to be the next person that does that. And again, it is remarkable how many extremely successful YouTubers there are that don't understand the first thing about how to be a successful YouTuber, and they have just gotten lucky. The few that do tend to last for a very, very long time. Good example of this is Markiplier. Markiplier is a freak. And I say that with as much respect as I possibly can, because he is probably one of the creators that I look up to the most. He not only can create really good products, he has wonderful presentation. He understands himself. He understands his presentation style. He chooses products that are going to fit into his strengths, and he is constantly pushing himself. He is constantly trying new things and learning from them. And when things don't go well, he doesn't throw a hissy fit and go, well, I'm never doing that again. He learns from them. He is incredibly smart, unbelievably skilled. And the reason he is he constantly tries new things. And I don't think there's another YouTuber on the platform that does anything even remotely close to what Markiplier does. And the people that know him the best, at least as my understanding of it, are still kind of blown away with how often he succeeds. And again, the reason why he works his fucking ass off to do it. I would love to be the next Markiplier. Never will be. It's not physically possible. If I was in perfect physical health, one day, if I spent 5 years really focusing on perfecting my craft and learning YouTube and learning all the other bullshit that you have to know in order to be able to be on YouTube, I might one day be able to be compared to Markiplier. Never give him a run for his money. Not until he quits. And then I wouldn't be competing with him. I would just be happy that he was gone so I didn't have to compete with him anymore. And again, that would require me to be in perfect health. I am not. Probably never will be. I am massively fucked up. But yeah, so I just want... If you take away one thing from this, it is this. If you want to be successful, learn how to read analytics and learn how to do your own market research. It is the most valuable tool that any successful person will be. And I'm not just talking successful as in I make money off of this. If you want to be successful, you want to achieve your goals, you need to understand the thing that you're going into. You want to be an Olympic Taekwondo master? Cool. Learn the specific style of Taekwondo that excels at the Olympic level. Learn what it is that you are expected to know. Learn what it is, watch old Olympic games and see the techniques that are doing really, really well. Watch other similar sports and see how they've evolved over the years. You cannot just focus on, well, I'm going to learn Taekwondo. I'm going to be real, real good. There are so many different flavors of Taekwondo. It is a massively confusing thing. And even if you decide that you're going to be an MMA fighter, but, your striking martial art that you use is Taekwondo, which is extremely uncommon. I can't think of a single MMA fighter that they they brag about learning Taekwondo. It's mostly Muay Thai and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with Krav Maga in there every so often. Mostly Muay Thai and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu though. You want to be an Olympic Taekwondo master, then you got to learn the market. You have to understand what it is that you have to do. You have to understand what it takes to win the qualifying matches, to be able to get you on the radar of the right people. You want to be a working actor, then you have to learn what the market is. You have to understand what it takes to get your SAG card. You have to understand what kind of things you need to have prepped for auditions and things like that. You need to learn how to audition. You need to learn how to market yourself. You need to learn how to meet people and how to I can't think of the word now. It's another thing that really annoys me about my brain is it will just stop working at certain points. And anyway, I can't think of the word, but it's when you go out and meet people. There's a word for it. You have to know all these things. You can't just be, I'm going to be the best actor ever and I'm going to focus on my acting. Or I'm going to get me an agent and that's going to make me... No, it's not how it works. Never has been. Every single thing that you want to be successful in, you have to learn how to look at the analytics. You have to be able to look at your own results and be able to interpret why it is you didn't get the results that you want, and then you have to constantly be working on yourself. Constantly. Stop blaming a single uncontrollable variable for your failure. It's not how it works. It's all for me today. See you guys tomorrow. All right? Bye-bye.